Mojang just accidentally added a new type of emerald farm to Minecraft Bedrock Edition, and they are 2 to 3 times better than our existing raid farms for emeralds. They're also way simpler, cheaper, and easier to build, and they're even safer to use than regular raid farms. Overall, this is an amazing new emerald farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This is technically a new type of raid farm, but it's unlike any raid farm you've seen for Bedrock Edition before. We're simply using the pillager outpost to spawn in new pillagers, and then they're going to join an existing raid, which will change their loot tables, so now they're going to drop emeralds, enchanted books, and all the iron gear that you normally get from a raid. Regular raid farms on Bedrock Edition give you about 13 to 1500 emeralds per hour. However, this new emerald farm can give you up to 3800 emeralds an hour, so it's nearly 3 times better than our existing raid farms. Unlike regular raid farms, we don't get any evokers, vindicators, witches, or ravagers, so it is much easier to farm these guys. So unfortunately, you're not going to be getting thousands of saddles from your farm, which I know is just like the last thing that you wanted to hear. I'm so sorry. This also means that you won't be getting totems of undying or the witch drops, but we make up for it by getting 3 times more emeralds. We're still going to be getting a ton of stuff from our pillagers. These guys drop 7 different items like emeralds, any enchanted book that you can normally get from villagers, including mending. We get tons of enchanted iron armor, tools, and weapons. Now, most of this stuff is just junk, of course, but you can throw the crossbows and banners into a furnace and use them for fuel, and of course you can spout down the iron gear for iron nuggets. With the upcoming changes and nerfs to librarian villagers and the books that they sell, this farm is actually going to be a great source of enchanted books. As you can see, you get all kinds of enchanted books in here. Anything that you can get from a librarian villager, you can also get from these guys. You'll get about 1 enchanted book every minute, which is more than a double chest every hour. So what did Mojang do to make this farm possible? Well, it's one simple change. They made it so that any illager mobs that are in the area can join an existing raid. As you can see, the raid bar at the top of the screen just went up to 2 mobs, and now if we kill this guy, he's actually going to be able to drop raid items, and if we kill him with looting 3, of course that has a better chance of dropping emeralds, for example. Now, this applies to any of the mobs that you would regularly find in raids, so of course the regular pillagers, but also vindicators, evokers, and witches. Any of these guys that are around your world can now join in on an existing raid. But of course, you don't really find these guys around your world too much, so it doesn't really matter. However, pillagers can spawn from the pillager outpost. So when these guys spawn in the outpost, they will join the raid, and then we simply kill them, and we get raider items. And of course, you don't actually need to fight the real raid. You only need to kill like 3 regular pillagers. You keep this guy around in a boat, and then all the pillagers that spawn in the outpost will join that raid and start dropping their raid items. I've seen a lot of comments saying that we could use witch farms for this. However, witches don't actually have a different loot table when they join a raid, so there's no point in using a witch hut with this mechanic. The only real way to farm this is by using a pillager outpost. You might be thinking you could just upgrade your existing raid farms to use this mechanic. However, there's a little bit of trickery going on here that makes it so that we can't really upgrade our existing raid farms to include the pillager outpost raiders. So you need one of your existing raiders from the actual raid itself to be within 12 blocks vertically of the bed. So our bed is right there, as you can see. And then you also need the guys in the pillager outpost to be within 12 blocks vertically. So this guy will join the raid, and he will be able to drop the raider items, but a guy that's up here will never join the raid, so he's going to have the regular loot tables. So unless you make a full perimeter around your outpost, you can't combine these 2 mechanics into one farm. So this mechanic has absolutely no effect on your current or existing raid farms. All of those still work exactly as they should, and nothing has changed with them. There's 2 different ways of building this style of farm. You can build the ultra fast way, where you send them to the Nether, or you can build an overworld only design and set up a Trident Killer at each. Let's take a look at the Nether version first, and then I'll show you the overworld only build. The first one is just to put a Nether portal right next to the spawn spot, so all the pillagers will spawn and immediately be teleported to the Nether. Depending on how good your device is, you can probably AFK here for like 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes at a time before you have too much lag in the Nether. This is definitely the best way to use the farm, giving you about 3,800 emeralds an hour and 9,500 total items per hour. And then when you're done AFKing, you just go to the Nether and all of your pillagers fall out of the Nether portal. They're gonna fall far enough down to become one hit by a Trident Killer, and this is like literally the entire farm. It's just a Trident Killer, a drop shoot, and then we just have a raid here in the Nether, which is kind of sketchy, but we just need one of our guys to be close enough to the bed, and then all of these guys will join the raid. It doesn't look like it from the raid bar, but I think because we have like 200 pillagers, the raid bar is a bit broken. We can give it a break. It's not made for this. But now we just hold ourselves a looting 3 sword, turn on the Trident Killer, and all of these guys are going to start dropping raid items, and we're going to get a supreme amount of bad omen. And now we can pick up the XP from our Trident Killer through the blocks, and all of our items will have gone into storage. As you can see, we get quite a few things. The only downside to this is that you need a raid in the Nether, which is just not ideal. I also got the absolute worst spawn in the middle of a basalt delta. If you're willing to put up with the hassle and bring one pillager near your bed, it's absolutely worth it for the amount of emeralds that you get. And keep in mind that raids will expire after 40 or so minutes, so you can use this guy multiple times and get thousands and thousands of emeralds before it expires. Now, there's a bit of a silver lining when it comes to these raids. These guys will actually walk towards the bed on their own, so no matter where they spawn, they're going to try and pathfind towards the bed. And of course, they make a lot of noise, so if you have decent headphones or directional audio, you can just turn up your volume and you'll be able to find them in the Nether fairly easily. And the second method is overworld only, so we're simply putting some Trident Killers on our spawn spots, and then we start a raid down at the bottom. Again, we're just capturing one of the first wave raiders, so pillagers take a couple of seconds to join the raid sometimes, and that's why we're not killing them as quickly as we could with these Trident Killers. We're not using impaling tridents, our clock is a little bit slow, and that gives them ample time to actually join the raid. With this design, you're going to get about 2,200 emeralds per hour, so you can simply AFK up here at the top, holding your looting 3 sword. That's going to give you the maximum amount of items from all of your guys down below, and every 40 minutes you have to go down there and start another raid. A weird mechanic about this is that while you have a raid going, the pillager outpost doesn't actually spawn pillager captains, so you're not going to get bad omen or any of these guys to spawn while the raid is actually going, which I think is a hidden mechanic to stop you from getting infinite raids if you happen to accidentally start a raid here. So when the 40 minutes is up and your raid expires, you'll have to AFK for another minute or so, get some more bad omen, and then head back down and start a new raid. If you like this kind of Bedrock tutorial, then consider subscribing. I got a lot more videos on the way, and we are so close to 600,000. Before I show you how to build anything, keep in mind that not all pillager outposts are made equal. Some of these only have 1 spawn spots, others have 2, and then some of them have 4 spawning spots. You're going to want to find one that has 4 spawning spots, that way you get the best rates at your new emerald farm. I made another tutorial showing you guys how to find a pillager outpost with 4 spawning spots. Basically, what you're looking for is the little doorway right here to be on the north side of the pillager outpost. So definitely go watch that video, that way you know how to find your spawning spots, and you can also find pillager outposts much easier by using the website chunkbase.com. Just put in your world seed, select Bedrock Edition, and then that'll tell you all the locations of your pillager outposts. I'm going to show you how to build the Nether portal version first. If you don't want that, skip ahead in the video for the overworld only build. This is everything that you'll need to build the Nether only version. You will be needing a villager for the Nether, and all these materials here on the side are optional. You'll also be needing 1 trident and a looting 3 sword. Once you found a pillager outpost with 4 spawning spots, you'll need to mark those out with your marker block. I would also recommend that you put some glass panes around them going to the northwest corner. That way you can actually make sure that the pillagers spawn in there. As you can see, we have 4 spawning spots with this outpost here. Once you've confirmed your spawning spots, we need to build up the nether portals around them. So we need our nether portals to be on the north side of the spawning spot and going to the west side as well. So it should be lined up like this. This block is in the northwest. And then of course, this is just going to be the standard smallest size nether portal. And then we're just going to break out these glass panes like so, light that nether portal. And then we just need to place in a solid block right here and then 3 glass blocks up and around it like so. This will push all of your pillagers into the nether portal instantly. As an optional way to turn this off, you could put a piston next to it like so, and then whenever this is powered, no pillagers will be able to spawn there. However, if you're going to do this, then you need to go down below your spawning spot and place a piece of glass on the ground down here. That way no pillagers spawn outside of your farm. So that's the entire build process for the overworld. You need to do this at all 4 of your spawning spots. Now that our portals are installed, we need to find the central spot between all of our spawning spots. So there should be a 7-block gap between your spawning spots, as you can see here, meaning that this block right here is going to be our central spot. So once you found your central spot, you just need to go upwards by 24 blocks and build up yourself an AFK spot. I have a solid block roof above me to prevent the phantoms from spawning, and this is where you're going to be AFKing to use the farm. Keep in mind, you're going to be getting about 300 pillagers every 10 minutes, so make sure you don't AFK for too long, otherwise you'll crash your game when you go to the Nether. If you accidentally AFK for too long, you can set it to peaceful mode before you load the Nether. If you have any issues linking your Nether portals to the Nether, then you want to grab the coordinates of this spot, divide them by 8, and then build a Nether portal at that location in the Nether. And this is the portal in the Nether where all of your pillagers will be coming out of. We're going to need a 20-block gap underneath that portal in order for the pillagers to get down to a 1-hit with the Trident Killer. We're actually going to start down here at the bottom. So these 4 hoppers is going to be the bottom layer of our Trident Killer, and then we're going to put in a double chest to either side of it, like so. You can go ahead and remove your temporary pillar if you've counted it correctly. So this is the basic amount of storage that you would need, but I would recommend that you actually expand this and add in another layer, and you can just keep on adding layers going downwards so you get more storage. We're going to need a couple of slabs on this side right here and this side right here, and now we're going to build up the actual Trident Killer itself. This is the standard design, so we need a piston in all 4 of these locations, just like so, and then a glass block above the chests on the corners. Put in yourself a solid block here, and then just fill in all the corners to make it a nice little square, like so. Place a dropper in each one of the corners, like so, and then we need an observer facing that dropper with the tail end above the pistons, and then you need to spin around in a circle to make sure that these are all placed in correctly. Now place in yourself a solid block above each one of your pistons, and then we're just going to put in another layer of solid blocks on top of all of this, like so. That's the basics of the Trident Killer, but now we're going to put in extra layer of blocks on each side of it, just like so, and this will help keep in all of your pillagers and keep them from glitching out. And of course, above your chest, you'll want to put in yourself a piece of glass. The on-off switch for your Trident Killer is going to be going right here on this block. If you flick that, it should activate everything. And then if you unflick it, all of your pistons should be going around in a nice little circle like this. And now you can just throw your Trident in there. So now we need to build the drop chute going up to our Nether portal. And your Nether portal should be directly above a side wall. Doesn't matter which one. If it's not above it, then you can just like move the portal a block. It shouldn't be a big deal. Either way, the drop chute is going to be in this general shape right here. So it's going to be a 2x1, and you just need to build this going all the way up. I'm going to be building it out of glass. You can build it out of whatever you want. So on the front of the Nether portal, we need to build it all the way up to the top of the portal, and then we're actually going to put a couple extra blocks on top of it as well, just like so, to contain all of our mobs. If you want to, you can put in a couple of extra coral fans right here on the edges to help those pillagers fall down. Either way, we're going to need ourselves a wall of blocks on the backside as well. Now, if you notice that your pillagers are getting stuck in here and they're not really falling out, what you can do is you can break out these 2 blocks and just put in yourself a couple of dispensers, fill these up with some snowballs, and then you can just activate these with a lever, and that'll actually knock your guys out of the Nether portal. And now you need to get your villager down here, so you just need to put it somewhere next to your Trident Killer. I'm just gonna pick a spot right here. We're gonna surround this guy with leaves, that way no raids can spawn directly on top of it. And then I'm just gonna place a bed next to it, not in the corner though, so this guy shouldn't be able to actually reach the bed and sleep in it. Now you should see the green particles, and bam, now we have a village. For your player portal in the overworld, I'd recommend making that about 50 or 60 blocks away from the outpost, and then you should be able to link to a new portal in the Nether. And now just run the farm for a minute so you can get some bad omen in the Nether. And now just run the farm until you get your first bad omen, which should be, you know, really quickly. Once the raid powers up, you'll be able to hear them, and you'll be able to directionally locate them pretty easily. They're also going to be trying to walk towards your bed, so all you need to do is capture one of them near your bed, and then you can go ahead and just kill the other ones. It doesn't matter, you don't need them. So once you've captured one of your guys near your bed, you are good to go to properly use the farm in the overworld. This guy will not despawn if you walk away from him. He will stay there basically forever, but this raid will expire after 40 minutes, so you have to repeat this process and keep bringing a guy near your beds in order for these guys in the Trident Killer to actually join the raid and start dropping raid raid items. You'll know if they joined the raid because the raid bar will fill up and it won't say 1 mob remaining. So now just hold your looting 3 sword, turn on your Trident Killer, and we're going to be starting to get a lot of raid items from them. As you can see, we're getting emeralds, we're getting the iron gear. If you want to get rid of all this bad omen icon on your screen, simply relog and then it'll go away. And let's get into the overworld only build. So this is everything that you'll need to build the farm with. You will be needing a villager. You'll also need like probably 15, 20 boats to sprinkle around the outpost. And you'll need 4 regular tridents without impaling. Once you found a pillager outpost with 4 spawning spots, you'll need to mark those out with your marker block. I would also recommend that you put some glass panes around them going to the northwest corner. That way you can actually make sure that the pillagers spawn in there. As you can see, we have 4 spawning spots with this outpost here. Once you've confirmed all of your spawn spots, we're going to build up a Trident Killer at each one of them. So you're going to have to do this 4 times. Make sure that you are facing the northwest corner, and we're going to start by placing in 2 solid blocks right here, and then a stair on this side and a stair on that side. We need ourselves a block going along like this, and then a couple blocks right there. We should have 3 blocks next to the spawning spot. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then on the 4th one, we're just going to dig out a little trench right here going to the side and replace all the blocks in the floor right here with leaves. Now we can build this up. So go ahead and remove your glass panes right there. We're going to place in solid blocks in all of these areas. We need a glass block right here with a gap above the spawning spot. That way they get pushed out of the spawning spot. We're going to put in some more glass right here and then 4 more right here on top. This block right here has to be a glass block. If it's not, no pillagers will spawn. Now we're going to place in a water source on that stair and that stair. Both of them should flow directly into this trench. If you have water flowing on top of this block right here, no pillagers are going to spawn and you have built it wrong. Now we need an upper slab right here and then 1 temporary block going out, a piston facing towards the spawning spot right there, and then just a couple of glass blocks to either side of it. You're going to be throwing your trident right in here later on. And now we're going to put in a couple of extra blocks right here just to contain the items and experience. That way they go into the trough. You need to build up this same cell design at all 4 of your spawning spots. However, the water streams on this side are going to be pointing towards the center. We're sending all the items and experience towards the center. And this is all 4 of the cells built up. As you can see, the water streams are going towards the center here. And now we're going to be mining out this line of blocks right here and placing in a line of packed ice. So you need 4 packed ice to either side and then a soul sand in the middle. You need buttons to either side of the soul sand. That way the water can flow in properly. And now we're going to build up this bubble column going upwards by 24 blocks. So this is block number 1, 2, 3. Just keep on going up until you reach 24. And now you just need to turn that into a bubble column. I'm going to be putting a trapdoor at the very top of it. That way we can stand right here. And this is going to be your AFK platform when you're using the farms. You're also going to want to put some solid blocks above you to prevent phantoms and of course spawn proof that. Down at the bottom of the bubble column, I put ourselves in a button and a door. That way we can get up to the AFK spot really easily. You also want to place in yourself some blocks right here to prevent items and experience from getting out of those water streams. And I'd recommend covering up the ice bits right here with some leaves just to prevent raiders from possibly spawning in there. The redstone line is really easy. We're going to start by placing in a solid block next to our pistons and then a slab line going between them like so. We need ourselves a line of slabs going out until we line up with these pistons, and then just a block there and a block there and connect that up with some more slabs. So we should have this kind of awkward capital I shape. And now we're just going to place in the redstone clock right here. Now place in yourselves a block here, replace this one with a block and a block right here. We also need to place in ourselves another solid block right here, remove that slab and replace it with a piece of redstone dust. Now we're going to put in a repeater right here on 2 ticks and then break out that slab and replace it with a torch. That should be clocking. And then your on switch is just going to be going like right there. You need a couple pieces of redstone dust right here and then continue that along on top of that solid block, redstone on all of these until it covers up that solid block and that one right there. Now throw a regular trident in front of all of your pistons. And now for the village, we need to go down to the bottom floor of the outpost. This is the middle block of the room right here. We're gonna place in a torch to light up this room, and then we need a couple solid blocks right here and a bed above it just like so. We're just gonna put our villager really anywhere. I'm just gonna put him on the side over here. Now keep in mind, if you have bad omen, you're gonna start a raid immediately. The first thing we're gonna do is place down a bunch of boats going all the way around the outpost to catch our raiders. That's probably more boats than we need, but you get the idea. Now, as you can see, these guys are going to spawn in, and they're going to run immediately towards your villager, and they're just going to get inside of the boats. You need to kill all these guys except for one, and that one should be stuck in a boat down here. As long as this guy is somewhat close to that bed right there, all of our pillagers that spawn up here will then join the raid. So if we turn on our Trident Killer, all of these guys are going to die, and they're actually going to be dropping raid items. Right now, all of our items and experience are going up to the AFK spot, but we can sort out the storage really easily. All you need is a hopper minecart underneath the ice stream on either side, and then just send that into whatever type of storage system you want. Now you can head up to your AFK spot and use the farm for the next 40 minutes before this raid expires. So once that happens, you need to wait for Bad Omen and start another raid, and then you just kind of repeat that process to get a ton of emeralds. If you like this Bedrock tutorial, then subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and then there was silence.